So today I learned about the let them theory from the Mel Robbins podcast. The video goes very much more into depth on this topic. I wrote down some notes, so I think I'm going to talk about just what I wrote down, and I'll include the original video into the description because it is worth listening to. So, anyways, the let them theory is that we're letting go of that control, that anxiety, and then we have to ask ourselves, what are we anxious about, and why are we trying to take control of the situation? You are minding someone else's business when you should be minding your own, right? And let's say that it's something that you're passionate about and you really think it's better if someone were to do like your advice because you know better. It's also easier to let go because the best way to learn from your mistakes is to make said mistake. Of course, there are some boundaries, of course, nothing illegal in the sense that it would be harming yourself or others. Someone's trying to drive a car while intoxicated. It's probably best to not use the let them theory in this and, be like, yo, you should not do this. Like, so there's obviously boundaries. And then also, if someone is crossing your boundaries, like a parent sets a boundary with a kid, like you have to do this homework or before you can play your video games, or you said I don't want to talk about this and it's being brought up over and over and over again, there is that, like, you should not use the let them theory on certain occasions as well. And though it could be you believe you're so right, the other thing is the other person believes they're right. So when you're arguing about it, you're kind of creating more of a wedge between yourself versus if you just say let them and let them express themselves and let them believe in what they believe in. You'd be kind of fighting an uphill battle, or as Mel Robbins put it, you'd be fighting against the current. When you kind of more argue about it, you're just creating more of a wedge and you're creating this gap now where it seems like you can't communicate over simple things. And also, when you allow to let them, you're letting go of control, and you're also just going to be viewed as a nonchalant person, right? Like more agreeable. And that's one thing from the How to Win Friends and Influence People is telling you like how to be more agreeable. I think that means how to care less and understand what real boundaries are. And if someone has a different point of view or a different walk, you allow that because you could also learn from that too. Because say you're wrong, because you allowed yourself to release control, you could learn from someone else's mistakes or someone else's success, and it could create a deeper bond. So letting go of that control is really important, and I think it's also just a really good advice for pretty much anything, and not just relationships, but like relationship with the self, to detach yourself from the situation you're in, and that can also give you a clearer mind. So if you're unsure about how to approach something, say something really complicated does come up between you and a partner or you and your parents and you and your kids, whatever, it's best to take a moment to think rather than to think impulsively, because we are emotional creatures. We think irrationally. We'd like to think we think rationally, but behavioral psychology shows that we speak more with emotion than trying to fit in versus speaking more out of perfect rational senseliness, And that can say a lot about people, but I think a really good way to find not only the right voice and the right way to communicate your issues is to let go or just to not communicate at all. That like I forgot what it was called in Taoism. I think it was the Wind Way. I think I'm very wrong on that, but it's the way of just being still, being completely absent, and just allowing the motions to go through and waiting for the right opportunity to then act. So it's a balance of action and inaction. And I think a lot of times in today, we especially in, I think, in American society, we are constantly go, go, go. And we don't really take that time to balance and stop and absorb something, like you'll watch a YouTube video that might be very informational, but then you're going right on to the next one that might be brain rot, or another informational video, but you didn't really absorb any of the knowledge you got. And I think a way to balance that is to not only apply the let them theory to, like, okay, just mind my own business, but also to take a step back from everything and do meditation, which I also have been learning about, but I'd like to talk about that tomorrow, because that will come from Andrew Huberman's podcast on his ideas of meditation and the science backing behind it. So, in in conclusion about this kind of tangent, I just learned about what the let them theory is, how you it's more of a sign of anxiety and trying to take control of a situation. B, it will improve your relationships and situations, and you're able to see things for what they are when you take a step back. And C, never really that deep unless it is crossing a boundary, or in overall detaching yourself from like very strong emotional triggers, I would say, is overall going to benefit you when you think more with a clear mind than when you don't. And letting them is going to help you achieve that goal and appear more agreeable and also more honest, because people can see through fake bullshit any day. It's just what they can do. It's like one of our key intuitions is to spot something that's ingenuine. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.